Hello and welcome back to our weekly news program, The Voice of East Turkestan, established by the East Turkestan government. The East Turkestan government-in-exile appealed to the International Court of Justice against China and thanked 39 countries who voted for the people of East Turkestan. The situation of Uyghur children was raised at a meeting at the United Nations Human Rights Council. China is producing masks by forcibly using Uyghur labor. China's Hualing Group started building a large-scale livestock farm in Bei County, an increase in the number of airports in East Turkestan. The U.S. will tighten its work visa policy again. Several countries such as the United Kingdom, Germany, France, Canada, Australia, Belgium, the Netherlands, Norway, Finland, Sweden, Switzerland, Japan jointly signed the United Nations General Assembly on the 6th of October. They expressed their concern about human rights in East Turkestan and the current situation in Hong Kong. The government of East Turkestan in exile thanked the 39 countries for their support for justice and exposing the inhumane actions of China. The government of East Turkestan in exile thanked the 39 countries for their support for justice and exposing the inhumane actions of China to the Uyghurs and other persecuted Turkish people in East Turkestan, and said that the 39 countries' opposition to the Chinese atrocities will give hope to our people and will be a reason for achieving justice in the near future. It is not surprising that dictatorial countries supported China, such as Cuba, Iran, Pakistan, North Korea, and Venezuela. And because of the strong economic and political influence of China, it was able to gain the support of many other countries for it. They should have known that the current situation in East Turkestan is a warning to countries facing Chinese deception and false promises. 71 years ago, China pledged to help develop and modernize East Turkestan, just as it did with other countries today. This ended with the colonization of the lands of East Turkestan, which continues to this day with the Chinese openly massacring Uyghur people. Since China's occupation of East Turkestan in late 1949, the Chinese Communist Party has waged brutal colonialism. There is no doubt that China's actions against Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, and other Turks in East Turkestan are described as a genocide. Recently, the East Turkestan government-in-exile and the East Turkestan National Awakening Movement filed a formal complaint with the International Criminal Court, urging China to investigate and deal with genocide and other crimes against humanity. It is our duty as the East Turkestan government-in-exile and the East Turkestan National Awakening Movement to support all 39 countries that oppose the brutal repression practiced by China in the territories of East Turkestan, and for helping us in the resistance for the people of East Turkestan and for justice, and to fulfill the international promise not to repeat the genocide again after the Holocaust. And they strongly urge China to end the massacres of the 21st century. On October 5, the United Nations Human Rights Council held a joint event entitled Committee on the Rights of Child, with the support of the American Jubilee Movement. Delegates invited to the event spoke about the persecution of Uyghurs, Tibetans, Falun Gong practitioners, and Christians in China, including the religious rights of children of the same ethnic group and religion. Witnesses and experts at the meeting reported that the Chinese government is violating religious freedom stipulated in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. Peter Irwin of the Uyghur Human Rights Project in the United States and Alfidar Iltabir of the American Uyghur Association presented reports at the conference on how Uyghur children's rights to practice and learn their religion are being denied. The Jubilee Movement is an organization that has taken a close interest in the issue of ethnic groups whose religious rights are being violated, and they deemed it appropriate this time to focus the conference theme around children. They believe that when the international media reports on China's persecution, the topic continues to focus on adults and the situation of children is not given enough attention. Therefore, they held this meeting specifically for children to change that and also to take care of the condition of child in general. The meeting was chaired by Mrs. Anne Boala, Executive Director of the Jubilee Movement, who addressed Article 14 of the United Nations Convention on Rights of the Child, which says that states must respect children's right to freedom of thought and religion, and respect their responsibilities, and if necessary, countries must create opportunities for children to enjoy their rights, mentioned above based on their abilities to grow. The issue of Uyghur children will be raised at a meeting of the United Nations Human Rights Council this time, and the Jubilee movement also said it will continue to work on the issue of the Uyghur children. As the Chinese virus continues to spread and the demand for personal protective equipment increases, China's companies are working to meet domestic and international demand. An investigation by the New York Times found that some Chinese companies are exploiting controversial government-funded projects to use forced Uyghur labor. According to what the experts said, this type of demand often forces people to work. According to the China National Medical Products Administration, before the epidemic, there were only 4 companies producing protective equipment in East Turkestan, but starting from June, this number increased to 51 companies. After detailed checks of state media reports and public records, it was discovered that at least 17 of them were forcibly using Uyghur labor. These companies mainly manufacture protective equipment for the domestic market in various provinces in China. The New York Times found that companies outside East Turkestan used forced Uyghur labor and exported their products abroad. Workers were required to unconditionally attend the weekly flag-raising ceremony, learn Chinese, and ensure their loyalty to China. After the Chinese plan was widely publicized in the media as a form of poverty alleviation, the University of California, the Berkeley Human Rights Research Laboratory, and the Uyghur Human Rights Association compiled dozens of videos and social media reports detailing the recent transfer of labor. On July 2, China signed with the Bei province of East Turkestan and the Hualing Industrial and Trade Group Corporation a cooperation agreement on the Comprehensive Agricultural Development Project, and the Hualing Group company invested 4.5 billion yuan to build a comprehensive forest development base and a company to display the technical livestock industry on a large scale in the Bei province. This appears to be the Hualing Group's largest investment project in the industry. On October 1, China News Network reported that the Hualing Group Corporation-funded livestock farm held a special construction large ceremony in Sairam town, 40 kilometers southeast of Bei province, and confirmed that there was a celebration of the third so-called Xinjiang Business Symposium for the project. This project is the second project of the Hualing Industrial and Trade Group company after the Beiyang Mongolian Autonomous Prefecture and the Heijing province. The company has also signed related agreements in cities such as Chuchek, Altay, Khotan, and Gulja. Analysts say that China has used the characteristics and advantages of East Turkestan to destroy existing factories, detain Uyghur workers, put them into camps, and arbitrarily commit atrocities. At a time when China is internationally being accused of committing a genocide, the executioners are trying to justify themselves by building a large number of factories and converting low-income. At a time when China is internationally being accused of committing a genocide, the executioners are trying to justify themselves by building a large number of factories and converting low-income Uyghurs into cheap labor. This year, their aims in the Chinese provinces is to transfer a large number of unemployed Chinese citizens to East Turkestan who were affected by the Chinese virus, swine flu, meese and locusts, and the Chinese natural disasters, and other Chinese natural disasters. International Airport Information Network reported on October 1 that 10 airport construction projects will be implemented in East Turkestan. On September 28, construction of Jeondong Airport began, and on September 29, Pine Polak Airport began. Existing airports in Kashgar, Aksu, Gulja, Kiria, Mongol Kora, and other places have been expanded, and a new terminal for Aksu and Gulja airports will be completed and be operational by the end of this year. China's goal is to increase the number of airports in East Turkestan to 30 in its 14th five-year plan. Observers conclude that while the Chinese government has detained and imprisoned more than 5 million Uyghurs and other Muslims in East Turkestan, and sending them to concentration camps and prisons, the huge investment in East Turkestan's major infrastructure has exceeded the normal needs of air transportation, and this is not for the development of East Turkestan, but rather for the mass transfer and migration of Chinese immigrants from the Chinese provinces into East Turkestan. Also, their aim is to plunder and dispose the various resources of East Turkestan, and most importantly, to keep East Turkestan under strict control at all times, prepare for any eventually deploy forces quickly, and fully besiege East Turkestan. The Trump administration announced on Tuesday that it will strictly ban the issuance of non-immigrant work visas to protect work and employment opportunities for American citizens. The U.S. Department of Labor and the Department of Homeland Security announced a new work visa policy on September 6, which dramatically increased wage requirements for work visa applicants and reduced academic credentials for applicants. These procedures have increased the difficulty of visa applicants to the United States. It is estimated that a third of those currently obtaining work visas do not meet the new criteria. The U.S. Department of Labor confirmed that the new policy aims only to protect job opportunities for American workers. The visa is a U.S.-issued work visa for non-immigrant foreign talents. They issue 85,000 annually, with a validity period of 3 years and must be applied by the employer. 3/4 of U.S. visa holders work in science and technology. Thank you for watching us and see you next week.